Into the Nexus is a production of amove.tv. Bookmark Amove TV for other great video games and esports podcasts. Into the Nexus is sponsored by listeners like you via patreon.com/ITN. Do not adjust your dial. That new troll hero has exactly as many arms as he should. This is Into the Nexus, the podcast all about Heroes of the Storm. I'm Garrett Weinzierl, he's Kyle Fergusson, and we're going to talk a lot.
That is the goal of a radio show.
It is. There's also quite a bit to talk about today. Kyle, Happy New Year.
Oh, Happy New Year to you as well.
This is the first Into the Nexus for 2017. We are back to our regularly scheduled Thursday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It feels good, man. It feels like the Wednesdays. It was nice. I appreciate you, doing a little earlier, moving your stream around so that I can, run around doing random last minute invited to Christmas party things. But it's good to get back to our Thursday nights. It's like a comfortable shoe.
And there's a lot going on. We got a big patch. Not crazy, though. I think it was rather well gauged for the holiday times. We have updates of actual systems, a new feature in the game, and the streams are very busy.
They are.
I think that's the part that surprised me the most. I know it's kind of a gym membership kind of thing in many cases. Lots of people want to stream, and they're setting their New Year's goals. But you check out Twitch right now, and that place is full.
Yeah, it is. A lot of people getting in. I would say, guys, wait a little bit. Usually the first of the year, it's really slow as far as ratings on everything. Podcast downloads, YouTube views, all that kind of stuff. But I'm very glad to see the surge in hero streams.
And we have a lot of people sticking around. The Genji event is over, but people are still playing.
Yes, absolutely. I've been hearing from a lot of folks who I'm like, oh, hey, you're like a friend that I know from WoW or from something else like Overwatch. And, oh, you're playing Heroes now? Yeah, I came for the Genji skin, and turns out I like the game.
Or there's a lot of people who just wait for their race from World of Warcraft to be in the game, and that's the little nudge. I met a guy this week who joined from only playing Diablo. He played the wizard in there, and when Li Ming got added, that was his excuse to get into the game.
I totally get that. I 100% totally get that. I can, if this game didn't launch with Arthas, maybe I would have waited a little longer, Kyle. Probably not, because I play every new Blizzard game the absolute first possible second that I can. But, if it was a different time, maybe if, pre-podcast life, I may have waited a little bit. Who knows?
I feel you. I felt the same way when Anubarak was added. I came to Heroes of the Storm because all my friends were playing it, and it didn't have all that baggage of Dota 2 in the background. Today we're adding a little bit more baggage on, though, so kind of scary there.
I think it's, I would call it features. I would call it improvements. I like a lot of the things that are being added. Baggage is a loaded term, Kyle.
It is, but this is a little scary.
Oh, so what's scaring you?
Armor.
Armor is scaring you. Okay, well that okay. All right. Well, should we just move into news then and have that discussion?
Let's do that.
We're on, boys! Ha ha! Let's liven up this place!
Can Stitches play now?
Yeah, I love it when... Oh, cigar fell in the... Oh, wait!
I'm going to try my best to start every year with the cussing, dropped my cigar, Tychus line, because I love it so much. And he's, and just R.I.P. Tychus' cigar. So Armor's all the talk right now. So I think we should kick things off with what the devs told us about, how they kind of set the stage for what's going on with Armor in the patch notes. They said, hey guys, in these patch notes, you're going to notice a lot of our tooltips that used to reference resistance or vulnerability have changed. And they even made reference to Matt Cooper's details when he detailed these changes on the forums last month, which we already talked about on the show. So it's important to note that the functionality for the system has been in since the variant patch. So that was mid-November. The game shouldn't feel different. But there are a few things as it pertains to armor that are different, specifically Arthas, Anubarak, and Greymane's Worgen form.
And if you forgot the variant patch, basically what it did was change how vulnerabilities and resistances stack together and gave that a maximum of 75% resistance.
Yes, and it was nice, simple, clean addition of percentages for the most part, which always gets muddy when we start to talk about that. But nonetheless. So let's get in at how do you want to go? We want to go through this because nothing's really changed. We already talked about how armor and resistance kind of stacks, and the same thing happens with the vulnerable effects. I would like to just move right into the hard examples of what happened with the Anubarak, Arthas, and Greymane.
Definitely. The text change that is happening to the game is just that resistance will be transforming into armor. So if you got 25% resistance, you now have 25 armor text there as well. And most of the tooltips, like I found one on Lili's Elusive Feat, they've just changed it over and still say that it's percent based. So all armor is percent based.
Yep. And so the big thing is that there is armor, there is spell armor, and there is physical armor. Now let's explain that a little bit by starting with Anubarak, who now has 25 spell armor. And spell armor specifically reduces damage from abilities. It does not reduce damage from auto attacks, which is what physical armor reduces. And Arthas has 15 physical armor. So both Anubarak and Arthas have armor, but Anubarak's is spell armor, only reducing damage from abilities. Arthas is physical armor, only reducing damage from auto attacks. If you see something that doesn't specify one or the other, if it just says armor, that is just straight a percentage reduction on all damage received.
Which is what's going on with Greymane. He has 10 armor while in Worgen form, which is a great little buff to his actual usefulness in staying in that form.
Yeah, that flat 10% damage reduction is great. Has this brought you back to Greymane? I know you've been busy learning Zeratul. You mentioned just before we went live that you've been working on your Zarya. Has this brought you back to the Wolf, Kyle?
It is not yet, but things are still kind of muddy. I am certainly struggling on Tychus right now, sort of my main for last season that carried me up to Master. Dahaka can go underground for an extended period of time, ruining what I'm doing, destroying tanks on Tychus. So same goes for Leoric right now, too. I've actually, and with many people, stayed on Raynor, and he was fixed in this patch. No longer is Hyperion acting as auto attacks and all the augments therein. But his ability to throughput without spells, with basic attacks, go into Giant Killer later, actually makes him more effective against Dahaka, which you're fighting everywhere right now, than Tychus. Zarya is more to pad out those games where I'm seeing Vala's YOLOing a little too hard, and I think she's going to be very valuable, too, with Zul'jin in the mix. However, side points all there. I did get to play some Anubarak this week, and this is fascinating. First of all, don't rejoice too hard, Anubaraks. There's a lot of you out there, particularly those who played him right after release. Then he got buffed into amazingness, and it was awesome in the preseason, then nerfed back down. Though we got the 25% spell armor, we did lose 200 health again. 223 health to be exact, and some health regeneration. Why? We're now shorter health or smaller health amounts than what Greymane has, but this was a very interesting playstyle. When you start to think about what spell armor truly means, and you still have access to your dampened magic at level 1, how you actually change your playstyle on these characters is very interesting based on the armor. Now when I make an engage on a Anubarak in the game I was playing, all my stuns went into the enemy Zul'jin, and I put 0 stuns into the enemy Li Ming, because I just danced around her. And so there was no need for me to lock down a single spellcaster because my resistance was so darn high.
That's a good point to bring up. But so with an Anubarak, and this chat is being this discussion is being had in chat as well. When do you take him? Like what comp are you going up against where it feels like you're really benefiting from that spell reduction? When are you going up against that many spellcasters?
A Nubarak is still an excellent counter pick to Cho'Gall, because you have Web Blast to put him in it, 2 for 1, and then all the reduction damage out of Gall. It obviously, there is someone who does the job better in most cases. And in fact, things can get a little weird sometimes because of Nubarak spawning beetles with every spell he casts. Those get in the way of the arcane orbs out of leaving in the first place. So did we really need dampen magic and spell armor in that mode? Ideally, a Nubarak is most powerful on a control point map. Let's imagine it's Braxis holdout, and you have to fight both, maybe, let's say, an Illidan and a Chromie. And you're going to stand on that pad, and by using your abilities, you're going to lock down, reducing Illidan's damage and their spell damage things too, so they go through his evasion. And then you spawn a whole bunch of beetles around yourself that continue to ping him, and you win that fight by being localized. Chromie's trying to ping you from a distance, but you have this huge spell resistance to hold out. That's my entirely made-up reason why you would ever take a Nubarak. You should probably just take Dahaka. Something else.
I agree. Arthas also got a health regeneration decrease, though not as big of a nick as a Nubarak received.
And you can still apply the same logic over to Arthas. Now you would spend your lockdown and your resistance getting rid of spellcasters, maybe killing them first and leaving your 15% physical armor to do its job while an auto attacker attacks you through there.
Yeah,
I mean, Arthas already has the encouragement with Remorseless Winter, where you root somebody down. You got your Frigid Winds that slow attack speed. I mean, these are cute ideas, and it's resistance, which means Frigid Winds reduces Illidan's attack speed, and then he deals less damage to you, and since his damage turns into healing, you negate Illidan.
Yes, now if only landing a root on a spellcaster stopped them from hitting you with spells.
That's the real problem I'm having with Zarya, too. It's amazing. Everyone, check out they're still going. Why are they still going in there? I mean, the Overwatch Graviton Surge is so chaotic, and you're actually sort of being seesawed back and forth and moving through each other's characters that it's pure chaos in the first-person view, but in reality, in a top-down MOBA, you just kind of turn and attack.
Yep. Yes, you do.
Which is great, and there should be heroes that do other jobs better. We have a map system in this game where there are many different kinds of objectives, which allow these heroes to have their individual places to shine, but Arthas and Nubarak are still lagging behind, and this hit to their health is bizarre.
Yeah. Now, I think this is all relatively minor. I think it's cool that armor is kind of getting split out like this. Again, going back to the dev comments as a reference, they said that they're basically hoping that this new system for armor is going to open up future design flexibility. And they even mentioned that we haven't heard the term knob thrown around recently, but they're hoping it will give them another knob to help balance the game.
Which is healthy.
Yes. Blizz Claudio also said that they have plans to add some type of indication of who has armor, what type of armor they have, yada, 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 in the character panel, which I'm glad that got added on, and I didn't actually see this until just before the show, and this was going to be one of my things. Like, this is really kind of a cool system. I like it, even though at the moment it's really, for the most part, affecting 3 heroes, and the 2 of them I'm kind of lukewarm on. I still think it's cool, but how are we going to know about it in the game itself if we're not reading patch notes? So good to know that hopefully some type of indication will be coming soon in-game.
And it's not crazy. You know, we can, as content creators, as supporters of this game, we can get a little freaked out that new players, this is too much information for them. But really, once again, I have to return to StarCraft and how they were unwilling to change things because they thought it would confuse the audience. I am more than okay with this. Diablo Shadow Charge right now, 25% armor rather than resistance. They just changed the text. Not too much is going on.
Yeah, no, I definitely prefer this way as well. This is the opposite of how Team 5 has been making changes to Hearthstone, which is to say changes are being made. So I like it. I like it. This is the opposite of what drives me nuts in game development. So, very cool. Shall we get into the balance update part of this rather sizable patch?
Which is tame.
It is. It is. There weren't a ton of heroes that were tweaked. But before we get into heroes, let's talk about the only battleground that was really touched to any degree, which is the Grave Golem on Haunted Mines. The attack damage scaling for the summon grave golems have been increased at all stages of the game. So I believe it was the last episode we were telling you all, run for your life from the smash. Now just everything. Just be a little more careful around the grave golem. Don't get complacent.
They're trying to end the game a little sooner.
Yeah.
These are going long.
Yes, which is fun thinking about previous Haunted Mines.
Right. With the snowball that used to happen.
Yes, absolutely. All right, let's dive into the heroes. First up is Nova. And really, we're just looking at level 1 talents. Tactical espionage is, it's gone. It's just been removed. And part of it has been kind of baked into advanced cloaking. It now also restores 2 mana per second while you are stealthed.
Fantastic.
I like that. And they also changed the functionality of covert ops. Now it's after you've been stealth for 5 seconds, pinning shot slow is increased to 55% and costs no mana. The bonus is lost after losing stealth for 1 second. And in the dev comments, they said, hey guys, this was not supposed to be a nerf. This was not supposed to be a buff. It was basically just really convoluted how we tried to explain this before. And as someone who doesn't play Nova all that often, I went out of my way, looked up the old way because I never really, paid all that much attention to it. And they're right. This reads like one of the most convoluted Magic cards I've ever seen.
Except on their turn, you can only do this, and it requires... it got messy. Yeah. And it was scaling up as it went. Now it's just a flat rate. Easy to use.
Yes.
I think advanced cloaking is just awesome. Mounting up is such a burden as a stealthy.
Yes. I like it. I like it quite a bit. Asmodan. There were quite a few changes to Asmodan, but I wanted to focus, for the most part, and I already see Kyle has marked a few things that I didn't mark that he would like to add to this, but for the most part, I think the big thing on Asmodan is what happened to All Shall Burn.
Certainly.
Yeah, so part of March of Sin has just been baked in, 40% movement speed to be exact. So from level 1, from starting the game now, you can move at 40% base movement speed while you channel All Shall Burn. The cast range has been decreased by 7%, but the tether range required to cancel the effect has been increased by 6%. So you kind of have like this rubber band thing going on where it doesn't just instantly get canceled.
Same with Morales' heal. Same with Ariel's crown. You have to be in a range to put it on, but once it's up, it is a little misleading as to how far away they need to run to cancel it. And you need to learn that for yourself. Asmodan was already rather popular for his solo push style. Now he's got that annoyingness baked in.
Absolutely. So I see you really wanted to make a mention on the loss of Mercenary Lord.
Which... he was so bad at taking mercenaries, really, it was too mana expensive compared to your other main merkers. They gave him a new version of it, though, Hellish Hirelings. It doubles the effect of General of Hell on mercenaries, and that's pretty darn cool.
That is very neat. So,
now,
doubles the... Is this, again, it's just a proximity thing when he's near?
Right, he puts out kind of an aura, like you would in Warcraft 3, except it is rather unique, and it's very surprising if you're not familiar with what General of Hell does. Grants 50% increased damage. Here it'd be 30% increased damage to these mercenaries, and 15% increased maximum health. That's the real surprise for people. And that's why you need to kill that general before you take care of the rest of the lane, so the buff is off them.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So am I right? I've always, just because of the effect of the General of Hell, targeted it if I saw it coming down the lane at me. Now that just seems like that's even more correct. Was I wrong before?
No, you were always right.
Okay.
Got to get rid of it because it's health. If you killed anything, you are wasting time, mana, auto attacks, getting rid of everything else first.
I ask because I see it ignored a lot.
Well, in a meta like this right now, I think we all have our pet peeves and pet projects we'd like to inform people of.
Kyle, there's something. I had a game today I would just like to scream about, but let's just move on. Sylvanas. Mind Control. The cast range has been increased by 1 full unit. It was at 10. It's now 11, and the cooldown has been decreased by 10 seconds. So they're wanting to see some mind control. That's not the biggest thing, I think, though. Paralysis at level 1 has been removed, and we've gotten a new talent called Dreadful Wake, which makes Haunted Wave disable minions and mercenaries for 7 seconds, and it also restores 5 mana per minion hit by Haunting Wave. Paralysis being removed, that was an auto pick for a lot of Sylvanas players.
It was always sort of a strange one to me. I get it, certainly. And when you got into the rhythm of doing a mercenary camp by yourself, it was extremely helpful. It always felt like to me on the base that it could be something you could outskill. It was something that made things easier. And if you just auto-attacked better, you'd be able to counter this. But really, they got rid of this, so maps like Haunted Mines and Infernal Shrines just aren't as easy for Sylvanas to do. And they actually took buildings out of this equation. The new Dreadful Wake talent only affects those minions and mercenaries. Plus, I'm really happy about this talent because now every time I see a Sylvanas Haunting Wave a lane, my heart doesn't go, oh, what are you doing? You're going to need that to escape. At least it's augmented in some way, and it's okay now.
I actually like it quite a bit. I tried it on a couple quick match games, and I like that I feel like I'm being rewarded by paying attention to the mini-map. I'm definitely being punished if I'm not, but if I'm keeping tabs on where the enemies are, and I know it is safe that I'm not going to be ganked anytime soon, I'm being rewarded by clearing lanes even faster and getting mana back in the process by actually utilizing Haunting Wave, because it's so easy, I think, as a Sylvanas player, just be holding on to that darn thing forever just in case.
And there is a real opportunity to use it against buildings. As the game opens, you see everyone else in a different lane, and you engage on the towers using your Haunted Wave to do the disable, so you're out of range, so you don't get pinged by a couple of things. And the cooldown is only 11 seconds. By the time they rotate up to you, you'll have your escape.
Yeah. That being said, I still really like Overflowing Quiver. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be taking this in Hero League games when I end up on Sylvanas, which I can't even remember last time it actually happened now. Let me rephrase that. I may not be taking this anytime soon in the Team League games where I frequently play Sylvanas with you.
There we go.
So, anyways, so that's cool. And anything else you want to touch on the Possession of the Will of the Forsaken change?
I mean, Possession got 4 seconds off it. Could be an opportunity. Will of the Forsaken, 10% more movement speed. These are all great little touches to talents that are going underpicked at the moment.
Yeah.
Depending on which streamer you're watching.
Yep. In the dev comments, they said, hey, Haunted Mines is back. We wanted to take a look at Sylvanas and her ability to disable structures. And I'm not surprised. Not surprised. You already mentioned the Rainer bug fix. Feel free to stand in the Hyperion a little bit.
A tiny bit. I mean, there's always the strategy that it only attacks 4 targets at a time. So if there are more than 4 targets in the Hyperion, you don't really need to go anywhere because the chances are lower. Plus, you might save somebody, if they're running by themselves in it, from getting 4 attacks repeatedly into them.
Mm-hmm. And all your Alarak players, your telekinesis should now correctly interrupt ETC's mosh pit.
Which is good.
I didn't know that was a problem. That's
not like mosh pit's really running rampant like it used to.
No, but boy, when you come up against it, that would make me very unhappy as an Alarak player.
It just did nothing.
Yeah.
On any channel, too. I believe it wasn't working on Ravenous Spirit as well, but that was hearsay.
Not sure. Some things were data mined as well with this patch. Apparently the next 2 brawls are going to be called Mage Wars and Bloodlust Brawl. I think it's just going to be a bunch of Rhaegars.
I think so. And Mage Wars sounds pretty awesome.
It does. So Chromie, Kael'thas, Li-Ming, Jaina. Who's the 5th?
You can get Gul'dan in there.
Oh, Gul'dan. Yeah. Okay. We're good. We got mages. Bunch of mages. Some warlocks, but mostly mages. All right. Now, okay, actually, I'm going to pass it to you. I was going to move past it, but you're a Tassadar. You're an old school hipster Tassadar, Kyle. What do you think of this data mined Tassadar rework lines?
We've seen it coming for a bit. Some of these things we've heard about, such as the increase to basic attack range upon completing your orb regeneration quest. That could be very exciting. I think really the only reveal in here we haven't talked about that's very exciting to me is healing wards. He's going to get a unique version of it that gives shields in the area.
Ooh, that's really cool. As an Overwatch player, and what just happened with Oh my God. Why can't I think of the name of the Symmetra? What just happened with Symmetra? This hurts my hopes for Symmetra ever getting added to the game.
I would not count anybody out, even those we have side skins for, to transform another hero into another hero. I wouldn't worry about that much.
Oh, I'm definitely counting Widowmaker out, but okay, fair enough. You're still... I still have hope, Kyle, but yeah, that's really cool. I would be very interested in playing around with that talent. That's it? That's all you got? Okay, cool. So let's move on to the new hero, Zul'jin. We're going to talk. So our initial thoughts. I'm going to say I'm going to be honest, Kyle. I played a few AI games. Really liked it. Liked what I was seeing from him. I liked the push and pull of having to manage my own health. And then I took him in the quick match, and oh man, I am bad. I am bad at Zul'jin.
It's a unique play style, for sure.
Yeah. So how have you been doing with the two-armed, one-armed troll?
I've really been enjoying him. There's a lot of things on his kit that I think increase the skill cap. Just really simple things, too. Like Twin Cleave does not rotate at the same point as your auto attack range. So you need to be slightly backwards. And actually, I've been shooting it sideways, off my side, because it's just easier to do it that way.
I agree. And I'm just trying to memorize the distance, because just the way of it working, for whatever reason, it feels clunky as all get out to use on release. Although it's a new hero, and I just need to see the range for a little while.
Certainly. And I don't really put any heroes on release right now because I just want things fast. And the messing up period is going to happen no matter what, so I might as well get a feeling for it if I'm going to love them. And we all do this. Every time a new hero comes out, I think we all collectively go, is this me? Is this the one for me that I'm going to climb with? That nobody else will like and will be all mine?
Yeah.
Right now, he's, of course, pretty popular, but he is vulnerable. And they've done a very good job leaving him those vulnerabilities, a lot like your Vala's, except for there was a trade there. This version of Vala has a self-heal rather than a vault.
Yes, which I feel makes him more vulnerable, because
Certainly.
It does nothing if you take damage. It does nothing if you move after you hit the button. It does not help you survive if you get caught in the middle of a poor decision. So yeah, Zul'jin. I'm going to be making that mistake for a while.
Just wait till both characters are in the game.
Oh, God. Please just... I know I'm killing some people's souls who are big Zul'jin fanboys, but just don't. It's fine. Give us a Zul'jin skin. That's all I need.
Us trolls are used to it, man. We're always taking the back seat.
Yeah, no, he... I talked about it on Twitter, like, you were absolutely walking a tightrope with him. And when it works, it feels so good. It feels amazing, especially past 10. If you take Tazdingo, the amount of... You're really calling out to your enemies, make a mistake. Stick around while this is up and running, which I've done multiple times against Zul'jins this week, and it's terrible. The damage he puts out when he's at 1 health because he has Tazdingo up and you can't kill him is insane.
With his Berserk trait going in the background, giving him that 25% bonus damage. One thing you can certainly say right now is mechanically make sure you use Grievous Throw first, so you get the bonus mark on them to do % bonus damage, and then make sure your Berserker is active for those auto attacks.
Yeah.
So you maximize them with a 25 and a 55% augment. That does a lot of damage. And of course, as you just mentioned, you're going to go faster the lower you are. Tazdingo allows you to go down to 1 health and have maximized attack speed. Once the error time is over, once people have learned that that's Zul'jin, let's check him at level 10. Okay, he went Tazdingo. Let's not assume he's going to die when he's low health. Let's not make hard engages. Things will change. It'll be like Uther territory again, which a lot of players probably haven't even participated in, and we certainly haven't had in a long time in the meta. So, change your thought process for the future. Enjoy the mistakes now, But as it advances, think about it more like a Divine Palm. And not the sweet kind of Divine Palms that land and go, whoa, and everyone is like, whoa, what a Divine Palm. Because actually that what a Divine Palm that you were just really proud of caused that character to go into stasis for a period of time, losing their position, losing their damage. In many cases, a Divine Palm that actually doesn't go off is superior because the character never gets locked down, and the enemy team who knows what Divine Palms stops targeting that character, causing chaos, causing a misdirection of the damage. It's split. Nobody chooses a target for a little bit. That's the power of Divine Palm. And Taz Dingoing at half health, while we may think it's wrong, and it's certainly wrong right now, in the future, just turning people off of attacking you could be all you need.
You're absolutely right. Now, talent-wise, what build are you doing? Are you just going like all auto attack, all berserker talents? Because that's what I'm doing, and it seems to be working pretty well, even though I'm terra bad with him. But the damage output's insane.
It's certainly a balancing act because there's 3 specs, really. You can do these sort of Grievous throw, pick all the pictures, and it's very easy. It's a lot like Rag's Blast Wave. Just real simple. You know exactly what to do. You have one important ability. If you miss that ability, you just played your whole hand and got nothing done. But at the same time, it's easy. Main build that everyone's doing is, of course, just stacking auto attacks. You got U1 Axe, just everything that gives you attack speed, bonuses on your Berserk, and just down the line Taz Dingo it. But personally, my favorite, and very limited by his mana, which is a very good choice, so I'm unclear on it right now, the Gamble of Guillotine is just so much fun. And being like, I'm not a good merker. I'm actually a horrible merker. Every time I took a mercenary camp, a giant camp, I went down to below 10% health. You get wrecked in there.
Oof.
But that means now you're behind the tree line, and you have the superior range. And what if you went ahead and picked up Headhunter, so now you can reveal all the enemy heroes, and you unleash this maximized guillotine for 200 damage on top of Kael'thas's face. Because it does more damage based on how low your health is.
So have you been taking this into games?
I have.
How
And it's
was-
a lot of fun.
Okay, all right. I'm glad to hear. I'm glad, 'cause it sounds really fun. I'm glad it's
Taz
working
Dingo
out.
has more use. If you miss the guillotine, it's on a 45-second cooldown, which is pretty darn good, but it is a huge missed opportunity. You have to be very careful about how you use your heals in this sort of spell damage spec, but you go with Arcanite Axes at 1, which passive gives you 25% bonus ability power when below 50% health. And so you start stacking these things, and then you get the axes, that swirling death that goes twice around, and you can create a pretty big zone. And as you run away, the animation on that guillotine, the whole guy, actually. I know Samaro's got his shoes on, so he has to do kind of the samurai walk, but his skin, everything about him's a little plastic. But Zul'jin's just fantastic looking.
Yeah, Zul'jin
And the
looks
way
like
he moves.
Zul'jin almost looks like he came in from a different game, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. He looks phenomenal, and I'm with you on the Samuro. What you're talking about there, I get it. He does kind of look like an action figure.
And Diablo looked the same way on release as well. It's something about the texture. But we know Zul'jin's been in the game for a very, very long time. Every time you see an alpha picture, he's in there in like a gray, sort of untextured way. But he's really well designed. Released at 49%, basically.
Okay, I believe that. It's really easy to screw up with him. We never really talk about having fun in quick match with a new hero. There is one thing about Zul'jin versus Zul'jin I want to say, because it just makes my heart smile, is when you end up in a 1v1 against another Zul'jin past 10 and you both have Taz Dingo. When the other one pops the Taz Dingo and you get to just quote Fast and the Furious and be like, too soon, Junior, and you pop yours and you know you're going to win that fight.
You're talking about the Nitro and the
Yes,
back of the
it's
car?
the Nitrous.
Nice.
Yes, it's just like, nope, too soon. It's just whoever the second one is to pop Taz Dingo and that exchange wins. I love it.
He's also got a great quick match build, and in fact his win rate is higher in quick match right now, which makes absolute sense because of regeneration. You can go with Troll's Blood to increase that regeneration, and at 13 you can allow yourself to move around while you heal. Quick matches traditionally without support and often without balanced tanks, one could say, with all the Artanis running around. I had a game, Artanis versus Chen yesterday. That was not so hot. But you do this sort of dance. You go in, you go as hard as you can, and then he just sort of disappears and runs around in circles. I love him. It's been a lot of fun. His usefulness, though, in Hero League scenarios is questionable at the moment for me. Characters like this, we've been talking a lot on the show about how you should just pick what you're good at. And I would not be good at him if I went into Hero League today. He just came out. But heroes like this definitely make me feel like I'm just kind of saying, where's my team? I'm not bringing anything else for anybody on the field. I played with a Morales yesterday. Poor Morales. She did an awesome job. But she was all the time because I went, hey, I have constant heals. Let's just leave Berserk on. And we wrecked, and it was awesome.
I bet you did. Now I want to. Can we at some point, Kyle? Can we please get 3 other buddies? Just go in a quick match. I want I want you on Zul'jin. I want a Morales, and I want a Malfurion. Just for the innervate on Morales.
And maybe the innervate on Zul'jin as well. That's really stopping his ability damage build from shining over the auto attack build. But if the mana was different, maybe with a Malfurion, I think the ability damage would be superior because your auto attacks are already so good. And there does come a point, particularly when I was Taz Dingoing while Morales was stimming me, that attack speed just doesn't do anything anymore. You can only go so fast.
Yes, absolutely.
But to give a sort of report on the guy, this is very early data, but we're seeing a highest win rate on Cursed Hollow, and very surprisingly, the lowest win rate right now is on Battlefield of Eternity.
That is surprising, right?
That's where your head goes.
Is it because of every time the Immortal ends up on the enemy's side, you just know that Zul'jin is destined to be murdered?
Maybe it's too health expensive for him to be in there. We talk about Greymane being exposed, but he still has a roll away, some sort of movement adjustment. And now with the armor, that might be helping him out as well.
Well, and if Zul'jin's at full health, which is the safe way to engage on enemy territory against the Immortal, he's not actually doing that much damage.
Not an absurd amount, no. But you can mark the target. Mark works on all enemies. So there is that going for him. You can use your let the killing begin and kind of evolve away as long as you get the kills stacked up. This is level 4 talent. You can maintain the attack speed bonus of 30% when wailing on the Immortal. So there's ways to do it. Maybe it's more nuanced and maybe we've had more time with Vala. But I think that's where we first thought about him. But instead we're seeing those higher win rates above 50% on Cursed Hollow, Dragonshire, and Braxis, which makes you think maybe he really succeeds more in maps where he can disappear into the tree line for a second and get healed up. Whereas Battlefield 30, he's just a little too exposed on the field. Obviously, Zul'jin's burning the Immortal. We see it ticking down. Let's get him.
Yeah, I can't speak to Curse Hollow. Dragonshire and Braxis, though, those are battlegrounds where you find yourself in 1v1s. It's going to happen, and Zul'jin is absolutely a hero that can shine in that scenario.
And it could be Braxis. He's just winning because there's 4 seconds left on the pad, and he Taz Dingos and holds it to the end.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. This whole hero is a trap. Like, you can play around him to the best of your ability. At a certain point, you are going to have to try and kill him, and he's just going to kill you faster if you make a mistake.
And the auto attacks, they are huge.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So all in all, I like him, but he feels right. Like, he doesn't seem insane. He doesn't seem terrible. I think it's just a solid hero. This is something that comes up on Angry Chicken, like when we get new cards, and it's like, yeah, I think it's just balanced. I think it's just this isn't nuts. This isn't insane. This isn't something you should just be queuing every game. It's also not total garbage you should be sticking away from. This just seems Zul'jin seems solid. I like his kit. I like what they did with him.
He takes care of himself, and if you have enough CC on your team, you could make the choice to avoid Vala and go Zul'jin instead, realizing that Vala would be too exposed or have too little healing to participate. As long as you have enough CC, Zul'jin is a great addition to most comps. In fact, he has a 63% win rate with Diablo right now. 59% win rate with Morales, as you can imagine. But do not try him with Auriel. Currently a 33% win rate there. It's the auto attacks. They're not Raynor. They're not going to poke out over and over again. You have to invest in very short bursts of time where you're doing extreme damage very quickly. Auriel doesn't quite work like that.
Yeah. So cool. Anything else before we move on to talk about tournament draft?
We'll just have to see. We'll just have to see what's coming next. what he shapes up to be, and we have no idea what's coming next, actually.
No, we don't. As you mentioned, I think last episode, all of the now true leaks, the hero leaks, would it come from 4chan, I think?
Yeah, some guy posting them. And he was correct just about everything, including bundles and such.
Yeah. Yeah, so clearly some inside information there, but that all of that has now come to pass. Zul'jin was the final hero in that leaked list, so we're not sure, and that's an exciting place to be. There was the Zul'jin trailer, and there's like a weird growl at the end. I can't tell what that's supposed to sound like.
From bad speakers, it sounds like Manaroth. From perfectly good working headphones, I think it's just Zul'jin growling as a axe goes whoa, 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 whoa,
Okay.
over his voice.
Fair enough.
But otherwise, it sounds like Belial riding a pod racer.
That's an extremely specific image you're trying to conjure in my head.
Good mount, though.
A pod racer?
Yeah, with the little engines in front and all that.
I don't know about that one. Maybe keep that on the N64. Anyway, I mentioned tournament draft. It's now at least in custom games. So this will allow players to swap their hero picks at will at the end of the draft. I don't think we need to go too deep into this. I'm glad that this functionality is finally in the game. I think it's cool. I would like to pose the question, Kyle. Would you like this, and do you think we will see it in either Team League or Hero League?
Possibly Hero League. It's a little messy right now. Basically, what's going on is you have a tournament mode that's going to be used in HGC. Fantastic. Awesome. It has its own observer settings, so the chat, all the little selection boxes, those are gone as well. So you do have a viewer experience. It's ready to go. You have a swap period of 20 seconds when everything is drafted up. That means we no longer have to spend time in that app transitioning over to the game. It loads up, and it's time. Great. But, like I just said, it is a bit messy. What you have to do as team captain during the swap phase, if I wanted to take my hero and give it to you, perfect. I just click you, and we swap the two heroes. But if I want to get your hero over to another friend, I would take your hero, swap mine to you, and then I'd swap with him, and then maybe swap his back to you. So it's not like a drag and drop interface. It does need some cleaning up, but for now it will serve the purpose.
Yeah.
And for those of you asking, in fact, we got an email today from J Lark asking why would you even require a tool like this to be in the game? And the real reason is just for esports right now. And it's so that as the draft develops, you're not giving away which hero is going to play on, or which player is going to be on which hero. There might be 2 Thrall players across your team, 1 superior and 1 minor, but then you end up taking a Brightwing later on, and your superior player is a much better Brightwing, and we can sacrifice the skill and put our second player on Thrall.
Well, and I'm gonna say that applies to regular games. We've been in Team League scenarios with our friends. We're not a regular team. We don't practice all the time, but there's been cases where over the course of the draft, it's like, well, shoot, Kyle took Thrall, but now because of the bans and the picks on the enemy side, I would rather take Thrall, and you could take something that's a reactionary pick that you're better at. This is absolutely something I would like to see in Team League.
Certainly. And in Team League, you don't have to have heroes at certain levels. You still have to own them, so it can get a little messy. Pros, that doesn't really matter for they'll have access to every hero, if not on their personal accounts, on the server they're playing the tournament on.
Yeah. So I like you said, obviously it's not perfect. They even said, hey, this is our first implementation. We're going to be tweaking this. We're going to be making adjustments, and that's perfectly fine. But I would love to see this in Team League.
My one critique of the whole system would be, I'm surprised it's not just captain's mode. Why aren't we selecting a pool of 5 players and then divvying them up to the players to even have the players listed, even if we're going to exchange them around? Well, maybe that's the strategy of it. Maybe it's left in there for a very good reason, which is the mental game of, oh man, he's on Zul'jin, and then you go swap, just kidding. We're putting him on Abathur, and you've seen that crazy thing. Oh no, the whole strategy is different. We mismanaged.
Yeah, who knows? It might be harder to implement than we think, or it could be, like you said, it could just be, they might think simpler for the audience. It could be any reason, really. We'll have to ask next time we have a dev on. But anyway, it's just about time to move into strategy. But before we do, let's thank everyone who is supporting us over at patreon.com/ITN. We have a Patreon. If you're not familiar with it, it's a place where you can go and support creators monetarily. We have one for this show, Into the Nexus, and it's how we support ourselves and the show. And on this episode, we wanted to thank the following patrons. Thank you to Grant S., Trey S., Jason, no last name given, Tintron, Joseph H., Alexander P., Punk Rock Pirate, who I would like to party with, and Matthew B. Thank you all so much for supporting the show and everyone. We really do appreciate it. Now, Kyle, you have a PSA about Battleground picks, and let's get into it.
Choose a talent.
Choose a talent.
Talent? Ah, that seems generous.
And this is your brain on fell magic.
So what happened in your life, Kyle? What happened? There's got to be a story behind the fact that this week you want to educate the populace on Battleground picks.
On specific map picks, yes. And this is spurred on by the many, many coaching sessions I did over the holidays. I got to work with a lot of different people of a lot of different skill sets. And bronze players, silver players, gold players, they all want to know what they should be helping to ban, suggesting to ban, and what sort of picks they should be taking to the map. Let's take a big step back first and say that this is a very quick and dirty guide. I'm going to use particular, maybe off-pick heroes to show why you might want them on certain maps. Of course, there's going to be meta heroes. If you're the early picks, you got to control those meta picks. Things get messy. And as always, I want you to play what you're mechanically best at.
Okay. Now that big asterisk is out of the way.
On top of that, we're also in a meta of Bloodlust and Earthquake. And you need to be the person to disengage the Bloodlust or Earthquake for your team. Most people are going to continue the engage. It is boggling. I'm not sure what about the Frostwolf symbol and the ground breaking and Thrall just going and running in and just getting nuts and being invincible is causing people to stay invested in that engage. I'm at a loss. So let's go ahead and get that out first. You need to control the Bloodlust and the Earthquake. Draft it for your team. If you have the mechanical skills for it, ban it out otherwise. If you don't get a hold of it, if it's on the enemy side, you have options. Sanctification turns the whole biz off. They're not going to be able to attack you. They won't get any Bloodlust health. That Earthquake won't affect you. Void Prison. Just drop them in a Void Prison. The effect is on the ground. It's not off of Thrall. Now, the Bloodlust will keep going because they're locked inside, and that's a buff to the characters. But just walk away. Just run away, man, and leave it to go. Mighty Gust the whole thing away. Graviton Surge on Zarya. Leave them all grouped together and walk away. Maybe a mosh pit would take the whole duration of it if you get everybody inside, but otherwise they're going to be Bloodlust Earthquaked all over you. Just something. Think of something that you can do to counter this, because it is a plague upon the lower leagues right now. Bad engages constantly happening in those replays I watched.
All right. Okay. I'm glad to hear that it came from your coaching sessions, because I didn't know what spurred this, and I thought it was maybe from personal experience.
It is, but that's more from the custom games that I play after shows or in the pre-show games or something like that. I'm seeing a lot of players make mistakes. In Diamond, High Diamond right now, everyone already knows. So it's not very effective information there.
All right. Very cool. Well, let's get into specific heroes, if that's your cup of tea.
Excellent, because so many of my students wanted to know about map picks, and really, it wasn't as important as their mechanics. But for all of you here, this is for you. All right. You want to find an advantage. You want to find a reason why you are going to take a hero onto a map. And using the map is one of the only elements you can control. You can't control what your teammates pick. You can't control that last pick Murky who doesn't pick a tank. You can only pick your own for the map. Of course, you're looking for one other excuse with this. It might be type of tank. Imagine Diablo Li Ming. Well, Diablo's going to push things, and Li Ming wants them to stand still so they get hit by Arcane Orb. These two things do not match. We got an Earthquake. We didn't get Bloodlust, but let's pick up Diablo. Now Apocalypse is likely to hit as everyone's slowed by 70%. You always want excuses like this, but those come from informed choices. Look, we're just thinking about the map today. All right. All that's out of the way. Let's do it.
All right.
Let's say you love Alarak.
Okay.
Alarak is a very powerful solo laner. So is Thrall. So is a host of other guys. Let's just think about Alarak for now. On Blackheart's Bay, there is very often going to be a solo lane. Either in the bottom, that's the easier strat, or you're doing the double soak top thing. Maybe they already got Zul, and you need some spell damage to penetrate through his shielding if he goes Shade. Alarak is a great choice on Blackheart's Bay and Brax's Holdout. Think of the map. Think if you're going to be solo laning. Now, of course, there's a million other reasons you might solo lane on Cursed Hollow, Dragonshire, Garden Terror, Infernal Shrine, Sky Temple, Tomb of the Spider Queen, Towers of Doom, Warhead Junction, just because they're so big, and you'll be stuck there for a while. Picking up a solo laner in those cases just gives you the advantage, and you know you're going to win your lane against something that can't do it as well.
Okay. The next one I like, Brightwing. And I totally get the battlegrounds you've included here. Warhead Junction, Infernal Shrines, and Sky Temple. Brightwing can go soak, and she can join the fight whenever she damn well pleases.
Use your globals to soak out a superior amount of XP. Get yourself that level 4 instead of the 3 that your enemy has. Jump over when you're level 7, and they're still 6, and you have a talent advantage. These are all very powerful things for Brightwing Dahaka. Soak it out. Use your globals. Join later.
Also, I'm perking up for Brightwing because Brightwing is a hero I play, I feel comfortable with, and I would pick in situations where I end up on support.
Oh, and Brightwing Dahaka, these are no longer obscure picks in the least, but a good example.
No, I'm just giving an example of combining what you're talking about here with what we've already spent months talking about, which is play to your strengths.
Exactly. Let's say you love Chromie.
I don't.
Well, let's say you did. So swift. If you love Chromie, you should think about which maps you are going to have an advantage on because the enemy is going to stand still. And if there's a channeling objective like Cursed Hollow, the chest on Blackheart's Bay, Dragonshire, getting the dragon, you might be a little behind at that point if you're guarding the dragon, but all the same, Towers of Doom is a fantastic Chromie map. Look for those advantages. People are forced to stand still. Great, you can hit your skill shots. Then your second advantage would be someone with sight. Maybe you have a Medivh that's flying around. There you go. Maybe you have a Zul that holds someone still. Now with those two ideas married, you say, yes, it's Chromie time.
All right. What about one of your favorites, Leoric, Kyle?
Hero-controlled vehicles. Leoric does percentage-based damage. Favor him on Dragonshire and Garden Terror. Goes for Tychus as well.
Noted. All right. You made a joke about that last pick Murky. That was a reference to a game I don't think I actually mentioned on the show itself, but I mentioned beforehand. The worst game I had today was the last pick Murky to just refused, and I caved and drafted around him, and it didn't go well. Kyle, subside my anger. When is it okay to take Murky?
There are many opportunities to take Murky. The best ones are going to be where you collect things and never drop them. This permanent pickups. Garden Terror. Plus, Murky can be a very effective Garden Rider because when he pops out, he doesn't care if they kill him. So he can get very deep and crazy.
And because of the bubble, they might not. He might
get away.
You're absolutely right. Haunted Mines is back. Those skulls, you don't drop them. Sadly.
And same with Infernal Shrines.
There have been games where I wish you could drop the skulls, but... And yeah, and Infernal Shrines, that's a good one as well.
This would be the opposite of don't drop the thing maps, like Blackheart's Bay, where you will pull out the coins, and then, of course, Tomb of the Spider Queen, where you will drop all the gems you have, as well as drop the additional gem. And we talked about that in our strategy section last week, and actually mining those gems that heroes drop caused my win rate to skyrocket on that map. And it's such a simple thing, but when I get a kill, I now know that they are going to drop 3 gems, 1 gem if it's Murky. And that is a full lane's worth. And I've just advanced my team a whole lane in the game by grabbing those up.
Very cool. Now, what about the opposite, though, of those battlegrounds? What about battlegrounds where you should absolutely in no scenario be dropping the things? Like Blackheart's Bay or Tomb.
This might be a great excuse for you to go Rexxar. Misha channels those gems and coins into Rexxar. If she picks them up, they go onto Rexxar's body. If Misha goes down, she doesn't drop anything. So you can use Rexxar as the sort of leash. You send him out, grab the coins off the ground, grab those gems, and they're back on your main body. Now, of course, Rexxar's not as good at murking anymore, so he does have some limited applications on Blackheart's Bay, but a good example as opposed to Murky.
Very cool. What about holding points?
This would be a good excuse for you to go Gul'dan. If you love him, you make the enemies make difficult choices. They're walking towards you. Excellent. Drain hope. Now they go...
Drain life, you mean?
Drain life, yes.
I'm
Pardon me, Leoric lover.
Getting in ahead of the Twitch chat.
But also, I love Leoric here for that exact same reason. Connect the drain and make them disengage you. Maybe the new Asmodan would serve this well, too. But as they disengage away from you, you can also Corruption, doing huge damage to them as they try to break that chain. And you've got enough health to stand there. Brax's Holdout, Sky Temple, Dragonshire, these can be good Gul'dan maps. Sky Temple has another edge, though, because they're actually spawning monsters on the pad. So Gul'dan can be a very good pseudo off-tank holder because he's going to drain those monsters and stay healthy while on the Sky Temple.
Never really thought of it that way. That's a good point. And then I love being able to see your notes ahead of time. Kyle, tell the fine folks why you put Greymane in this list.
Kill the thing map. This is going to be your Battlefield of Eternity, your Garden Terror. Are you able to kill a stationary object in a very quick order? Sammy's good at this. Greymane can do this. These are opportunities for you to notice that you are going to burn a single target, and you can take attack speed increasers, particularly on your melee characters, that won't normally come into play. For instance, you can augment Sammy's trait to increase his attack damage as he gets more attacks in on a single target in the late game. That's a very powerful talent pickup for Battlefield of Eternity.
Awesome. So before we move away from this, just a reminder, again, everyone, this is an overall, like you said, Kyle, quick and dirty guide. Don't pick Leoric if you don't know how to play him, just because we say he's good on Dragonshire or Garden of Terror.
Certainly, always play to your strengths, but a lot of you love Chromie out there, Alarax. Characters that might be considered out of the meta, and this is a way for you to encourage yourself with your mechanical skills to use them in a superior environment. We didn't talk about murking today. That is insanely important on Sky Temple and Blackheart's Bay right now. That is how you get an early lead when the game is under control. We only know on Sky Temple that there will be 2 temples in the top, then 1 in the bottom. You need to get your snowball advantage by the time that bottom is done. The best way to do that is to control the mercs.
Well said. Any homework for the folks that want to start merking?
Your best merkers right now are going to be Sammy, Illidan, Sonya traditionally, and that's about it. But it can still be done to great effect on a properly spec'd Artanis. Asmodan can do it fine. Rexar can do it fine. There are many options to how you are going to merc, but realize how important of a role that is on Blackheart's Bay and Sky Temple. And in fact, any map where you can really control the mercenaries, you can give a lower tier team a huge advantage.
Awesome. Well, great, everyone. Hope that was helpful for you. And to that murky guy, man, I believed in you. I believed in you.
Hey, I've loved Murkies. I live with a Murky player. We almost always recently have been drafting Kristen's Murky on Battlefield of Eternity because it's such a great lane presence, give us an XP lead, and she has no application on the Battlefield Immortal at all, so she's constantly in lane giving us an advantage. That's a strategy we're doing because of the mechanical skills of my player.
Yeah, you're giving me an example of a player I've seen on Murky and trust is Murky. And if I'm being honest, I wasn't completely against the Murky. I didn't want the Murky and the first pick Vala. I don't trust Valas in my games right now. I am just, if you're picking Vala, I don't trust you until you prove yourself otherwise. So when I saw just the Vala snap up, and then the other guy's buying for Murky, and I'm like, but they already have like a couple tanks, a lot of health. Attackers would be really good here, but yeah. That's
you're also dealing with body there, and those kind of characters, as you get a Vala, you're contributing less health points to the overall pool, and then you put a Murky into that, and now you're really reducing the number of targets that can be hit, and that means the damage comes through more pure. If we have let's say, a Li Ming who's arcane orbing far, far in the distance, and a Chromie, those three in front are getting wailed on.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. So I've had some good games with Murky as well. Just today, man. I'm on Murky tilt. So
Certainly. We all, like I said, we all have our pet projects. Mine is Bloodlust right now.
so much as it exists as people are engaging into the Bloodlust.
Yes.
Okay.
Run away. Any timed ability. Ragnaros throwing a fit as a building. Maelstrom. If it has a timer on it, just disengage.
I agree completely. Well, let's
Stop. If this can all end, I think the real crux of this, Garrett, and I have to get this out. If this all can end, if we can all walk away like gentlemen, I can stop taking Falstad, finally.
I love that you take Falstad like a hate ban. Like if I saw someone queuing up Murky and I just ban Murky so they can't take him. You're taking Falstad, so you just be like, no, you don't engage there. No, stop it. You're like scolding your team.
It saved us all. It saved us. His win rate right now is down 45%. He's not anywhere as hot as he used to be, but the application to save a team and regather is huge.
All right, fair enough. Well, let's take an email and close out this 146th episode, shall we?
Darkness stopped calling.
Does anyone else hear that buzzing?
Hold on. Darkness just texted me.
You can send your emails to itncast@gmail.com. Our email today comes to us from Veneer, who writes in and says, "Hi there again, guys. I found Kyle's talking about his learning of Zeratul on episode 145 interesting. I recently invested a lot of time into Medivh, finally getting to level 10 with him, playing entirely in quick match, and averaged a 30% win ratio with him. Oh, goodness gracious. He says, likely, I think, due to his unique playstyle and teammates not fully leveraging his portals and vision. Again, I stress, quick match. Now, due to the 70% loss ratio, I dropped some 600 MMR according to HOTS logs. Okay, big asterisk. It's HOTS logs. Might not necessarily be a reflection of your actual MMR in game. Okay, moving on. And now that I am actually playing characters which fit better into comps, I am finding the matches quite a bit easier than I am used to. I was wondering if Kyle has anything like that in his own play while learning Zeratul or other heroes, and if either of you had suggestions on things Blizzard could do about this. I think hero-specific MMR would be a good system to have. I mean, that final sentence, yeah. I agree with you.
That was the original goal of MMR, actually, was to have a hero-specific because the game was made for quick match. But then the community called for bans and a ranked environment, and so things changed around. And we had MMR seeding in order to fill out those new game modes. But yeah, originally in Alpha, this game was going to be about quick match. It was one of the really cool things about the talent system. What sort of bizarre things could you do to augment yourself when you're missing support, missing a tank? Now it'd just be too much. It'd be way too confusing. There is a system, though, that if you are a lower level player in the actual hero level, you fight more likely a chance of other low hero levels, but it really doesn't often work out. You'll still see master skins in the game that you're playing a level 2 Zul'jin on.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think hero specific. I mean, you could bring it in for quick match, right? I mean, what is really hurting anything? I know quick match seeds into other leagues, but I'm sure that could be addressed.
Well, we've been calling for that to end anyway. So, hey, yeah. What a great time to pull the plug on that particular system.
Yeah. However, the side point I would like to make that I don't think Veneer was trying to get across in any way, shape, or form is I love that, played a ton of Medivh, got him to level 10, only had a 30% win ratio. And then, by his own words, playing characters that, quote, fit better into comps. He's finding the matches a lot easier. And I'm going to go all the way back to freaking the episode when Dunk Train joined us. Burden of execution. This is the most beautiful example of the burden of execution. This isn't me saying that you should never take Murky, you should never take Medivh. It is just on my brain right now because during the draft phase, when that guy was hovering over Murky and everyone's like, no, we need to switch around. We need to be a little more fluid because of what the other team is drafting, because of the battleground that we are, and other players, not even me, in the chat of that draft invoked because of our own personal playstyles, preferences, and comforts and heroes we're actually good at. We cannot draft around your Murky, sir. We were giving him every warning in the world, and he wasn't budging. And all I can think of is, sir, you're just making this harder than it needs to be. And Medivh can do that. Doesn't always. There's definitely scenarios where Medivh is the perfect pick. And if you're a god like Medivh, I couldn't be happier to have you on my team. But he's not the right answer, I would say, more than 50% of the time.
Right. It's kind of like my fantastic guillotine moment where I destroyed this Kael'thas from behind a tree. Why was that Kael'thas by himself? Because it was quick match. Why was he standing still while auto-attacking a wall? And I got him with this because it was quick match. So, and my Zeratul was not effective. In fact, I crushed on Zeratul throughout quick match. Still have not come up with that opportunity for it in Hero League. I know it comes up like once every 6 months, and that's why I reinvest myself in someone like Zeratul. I'm like, oh, it would have been perfect. And then it never comes up again. But these sort of characters that have void prisons or ways to regenerate their own health, maybe like Zul'jin, easy characters. Varian. People who can vary their specs and change their playstyle greatly. Dahaka and his amount of soak. These sort of things allow you to crush a quick match scene very quickly.
Yeah. So, is there anything besides Hero-specific MMR, though, to get back to one of his questions, if we had any suggestions about other things Blizzard could do about this? Anything that comes to mind? Nothing really sparks for me.
No, and quick match, I think, could take this rule onto itself. We've seen the numbers at BlizzCon. The majority of players play in quick match, and then they divide up as you go deeper into ranked modes, which makes sense. The serious gamers would be a fewer number, and the casual gamers would be larger. So maybe this could be imposed in some way.
Okay. I like that. I like you invoking statistics.
But people have also quoted Smurf problems, and if every single hero you ever pick up is now Smurf quality, I think the game could really suffer there. Really, entirely separate from all this, I would really like it if there was just a mode, and I don't want to add modes to the game. I don't want to fracture this audience any more than it already is. I'm seeing very long queue times for gold and silver leaguers, too, right now in Hero League. I would like a mode where there is no rank, there is no MMR, because constantly players are not able to see things that they don't face normally.
Oh, so you're saying make quick match an honest quick match? Like, it just get us into a game as quick as possible. I don't care about matchmaking?
Yeah, zero MMR in the background just for that chance. Or maybe even it's warned, right? Like, I'm a high MMR player, and I go to it, and it's like, by the way, this is going to be madness. And if you're a low-skill player, it's still like, by the way, you might face things that are going to destroy you. But the fact that those things destroyed you mean you learn, and you get to see that enemy be better at the character you're on. And when I get to coach people, and when we have time, when all the notes are over to jump in a game together, there is something magical that happens as they go, I'm getting crushed here.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on the mindset of the player, though, right? There's certainly some people, I think, who would get into that scenario and then never return to it.
Certainly, and I am also coming from a history in Dota, Warcraft 3 Dota, where there was a program on a website that we all used to track people we didn't like, because there was no MMR. There was no reports. There was merely a list online of people who were leaving, and as people joined your custom game, you would sort of Google their name in that list and see if they're on there, and then you'd kick them from the game. But you had no idea what their skill level was. Getting a honest to good balanced match was a dream, and it would happen once a month. But we all played it and loved it. Darn it. Uphill both ways.
Get off my lawn.
Exactly.
Well, fantastic.
But it does help people get better at the game. And if those players are facing the level of aggression that higher tier players are facing, they will become safer players. There's constantly this problem with we talked about Vala quite a bit today. If Vala goes forward and the whole enemy team dives her, but she's 4 levels up, she survives. They got out of position. Vala wrecks everybody with Morales' help, and that turns into an amazing moment. Vala goes, well, I'm just amazing. The game is over. Ding, ding, ding. Plus, Blizzard's really good at the mental gambling, almost addiction centers with the dings, and why it feels so bad to be demoted is because they've made it feel bad. In Dota, when you lose a game, the first things you see are your XP going up, the item you may have won in that, and only after it's over, if you choose to do the mental math to minus the MMR that doesn't show any numbers on it, then you will know how much MMR you've decreased.
All very good points, many of which I haven't really considered. Also, never played that much Dota, but thank you for the trip down back in my day lane, Kyle.
You're welcome. It was, I know. I
appreciate it, man. I love when you tell your tales from Dota, because I didn't play a lot of it. Like my old online game was the original like Half-Life mod Counter-Strike. And
yeah.
It was on a 56K modem on a crappy computer. It wasn't the best experience in the world, but damn it, I loved it. It was fun.
Did you ever play hook shots and shotguns?
No.
That was a blast.
Pun intended?
Oh, yeah. Pun intended indeed. It was just Counter-Strike, but out of your chest you shot a hook shot, and it would grab onto walls or enemy players, and then you just had a shotgun. That was the whole thing.
That sounds actually something like I really would have enjoyed when I was 12.
It was good. I had one of those. They were, what was it? The lab manager? You know that guy in middle school who kept the computer lab functional and tried to uninstall the games that we were placing on there?
Yeah.
Well, he would lock us in there like once a month. We'd have like an overnight stay, and he'd lock us all in there. We'd just play Counter-Strike all night and Aliens AVP. No one played Dota, though. I remember showing up with him like, hey, I brought my... Anyone want to spawn some Brood War off my disc, man? Like, no.
Sad.
What's a tower defense?
And I think the way we can tie this back into Heroes of the Storm is thank goodness for mods, because we probably wouldn't have Heroes of the Storm without it.
Certainly wouldn't.
Nope. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Into the Nexus. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. We're back on the Blizzard launcher tonight, so I'm sure there's some new faces. If you're watching live, welcome. Hope you enjoy the show. If you're not familiar with podcasts, you can actually subscribe to this and get it audio only on demand whenever you want to listen to it on just about any podcast catcher out there, iTunes, any RSS catcher. It's cool. It's a thing. Go check it out. Or just keep coming and joining us on Twitch. We enjoy it. Thanks again to our badass patrons over at patreon.com/ITN for supporting us. Really appreciate it. Thank you to Declan H and Cheesy Bob, our Patreon producers. Check out amove.tv. That is where you will find the entire back catalog of Into the Nexus episodes, as well as many other Blizzard gaming podcasts, and even a few things that don't have a damn thing to do with Blizzard. So go check that out as well. And we will catch you live Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern right here on twitch.tv/AMoveTV. If you want to catch it on the go to alphageekmedia.com. You can follow the show at ITNcast on Twitter. And huge thanks to Gorath and BrianGriffithMusic.com for our intro and outro music. Go check out their work. Kyle, where can folks find you when you're not doing ITN?
This week, check out my videos on Zul'jin over at youtube.com/Kyle Fergusson. It's named Axing Questions and Death and Axes. And yes, until there's another hero out, I will continue to really pump those puns.
I got all my cow puns out of my system thanks to the Tavern Brawl in Hearthstone right now.
That was a lot of fun. If I beat him, does something special happen? Because I lost, and something special happened.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
If I beat him, he just turns into the other thing anyway.
No, it's not that. Well, if you can just beat him straight up, and you just get your card back. I mean, you should do it to get your card back. The way you trigger the hidden thing is to trigger all three of his secrets. And there's a list online. You should go look them up because some of them are mad obscure and you would never guess.
Well, I did it by accident. Huzzah.
Okay, very cool. Very cool.
In my first go there. You should also check out this weekend. This weekend, Team League is back. Saturday, 2 p.m. Pacific. It's going to be the whole crew that you've come to know. John, Gorath, Scott, and Kristen are all coming back, and we are so excited to have back at this. Team League is the place to be in this game, and I just have such a good time there. I'm going to see we've accidentally done a Vala comp twice, and it's always fell flat on its face. So I'm going to see if they're up for a little bit more of a teacher's exercise, but let's see if we can actually get that Vala comp to work this week.
I can dig it. Folks, you can follow me on Twitter at Garrett Art. There are 2 R's and 2 T's in Garrett. Everyone forgets the second T. Patrick thinks I should go by R2T2, just to remind folks.
That is very cute.
I don't want to change my Twitter name. I just don't. Sorry. You can go to nomoonart.com. That is my graphic design portfolio. If you need to contract a graphic designer, consider me. There's a contact form right over there. Go check it out. And check out all the other podcasts on amove.tv. I do a lot of them. I've been reminding folks, because it's come up a few times, I have a Star Wars podcast. A lot of folks have been asking if I ever talked about Rogue One on any podcast. There's an entire podcast for Star Wars talk. It's called Let's Talk About Star Wars. It is with me, Tom Merritt, and Jenny Josephson. And once a month, we talk about Star Wars. And the most recent episode is our Rogue One spoiler show. And we'll have a new episode coming for you a little bit later this month. So go check that particular podcast out. And also, we don't run ads at the top of the show, but we do have codes for you. You can use the code ITN over at doghousesystems.com. It will get you a solid state hard drive added onto the gaming rig that you're purchasing free of charge. That's in addition to the regular hard drive that comes with the system, so use that code at checkout. You can also use that code over at tweakedaudio.com. ITN will get you 30% off and free shipping off of your entire order of noise-reducing earbuds and headphones from Tweaked Audio. We thank them for their support. We thank everyone for listening. Hope everyone's having a good start to the new year. And just be a little flexible. Last pick, Murky players, a little flexible. And I'll give you a big fat fish high five. There we go. We'll do it. We will do it. I believe in you, Murkies. Good luck and have fun, everyone.
Take care.